recent headline that Mumbaikars are stuck in traffic an average of 85 minutes a day probably made you sit up and think about how traffic was making you suffer. And this would be true if you are in any major metro city of the country, not just in Mumbai. But just to give you an idea of how much traffic eats into your life and how it's much more than just a nuisance, here's a sample. My team, the evening team at ET Now, has calculated how much of their time just disappears in travel. So here's a sample. Dimple Sharma, for example, lives about 44 kilometers from work, travels that much distance, spends 2.5 hours a day, and in a year spends 27 days, 650 hours just stuck in traffic. Ananya, for example, lives even further. It's a distance of nearly 80 kilometers. And in a year, she ends up spending 910 hours or 38 days of a full year in traffic. Now, if you calculate how much time you officially get off if you're an employee, that will really pinch. It's the same story for the others. Varun, my colleague, travels from a distance of 108 kilometers, ends up spending in a year over 1,000 hours. That's 43 days of his year just gone stuck in traffic. Virat also has a tough time. He works about 50 kilometers away from home and in 1 year spends 780 hours. That's 32 days. It's not just the time spent. It's a loss of productivity. It's time taken away from you to do something else, to work, to spend time with your family, and it also impacts us economically. There is a price to pay. Now, to go beyond that headline of just 85 minutes, I'm joined now by Parin Visaria of ITDP. That's the organization that has put out the report that estimates 85 minutes a day for an average Mumbaikar. Parin, welcome to the show, and first let's talk about how you've come to this figure.
Thank you, Tamanna, for having me here. So this was a year-long study which is funded by Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation, and we also had a technical support from Symbiosis School of Economics. This entire study had two pieces in it. One was the sustainable, one was the on-ground surveys where we understood how traffic congestion is affecting Mumbaikars, and later on with the surveys that we found, we estimated the cost out of the surveys, and with our estimates, with our models, we ran a model which gave us the estimates on the time spent and the economic loss that the city is facing.
Okay, so take us through the details, and especially the economic loss, because I think we end up underestimating what traffic is really doing to us.
Right.
If you're not in an air-conditioned car, then you're actually breathing fumes for all of that time.
Right.
Apart from the mental stress and frustration and road rage, it's actually costing us money, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me actually talk about it in depth. So firstly, traffic congestion is not only about you just getting stuck into the traffic. There are other impacts onto it. It definitely has your impact on health, both mental as well as physical health. Mainly because of air pollution, you do suffer many respiratory problems. Now, this affects every citizen of the city. However, this is an additional burden on the people belonging to financially weaker sections. Similarly, the loss of time takes away the time which you could have very well constructively invested in your personal growth, or maybe in your meetings, in your productive, which we call this as a productivity lost, or you would have invested that simple into hobby or given time for your family. So this is very important to understand that it has multiple problems.
And what's the price that you've put on it in your survey? What is the price that you now say that Mumbai loses because of congestion?
So the estimates right now says that about 3,600 crores have been lost. These are our estimates, have been lost because of productivity loss and also fuel costs. And if we also additionally add health costs, this is to the magnitude of 1,500 crores.
Wow, that's really, we have to talk about what we can do. By the way, it's not just Mumbai. There is a Boston Consulting Group report that says Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore and Kolkata and the congestion in these cities will cost us $22 billion per year. So we need to start looking at this as an economic issue as well, as something which is, costing us money. Give us a sense of other cities as well broadly. I know you've done this study in Mumbai, but from what you can see, Bengaluru, for example, you get to the airport and from anywhere in the airport into the city is 3 hours. So you can't possibly do a work trip in a day, because you have to add an additional 6 hours to that day just to come in and out to the airport.
Absolutely. I think it's not only what Mumbai is facing with respect to traffic congestion. It is an issue that has been faced by any other city, and hence the study is not something which is very Mumbai specific problem and applies to major cities in India, Delhi, Bangalore, and it is quite right. I cannot have 1 day trip. I have to have, or either I have to fly a day early so that I could attend the meetings next day which are scheduled in the morning, and hence the company has to bear for me 2 days of travel, which also then includes stay, and this all cascades into a cost which I'm paying because of traffic congestion. Not only that, because of the traffic congestion, when you are stuck, there have been many instances where you have missed your flights or trains, and this is additionally included in your travel cost.
Absolutely. Let's talk about solutions. Let's talk a bit about solutions and what really we can do. First of all, I think local bodies have to be really aware that this is a big problem.
Absolutely.
Where you and I are sitting and talking is in central Mumbai and Lower Parel, where the traffic is really to the next proportions. You can take about 45 minutes to travel less than 3 kilometers.
Yes.
What can we do?
So firstly, what we have done, let me just give a bit context to congestion pricing. What is the method all about? We have seen a tremendous increase in the vehicles. In the decade, we have seen almost 109% increase. Today, it stands at 37 lakhs, of which 86% is private vehicles.
This is in Mumbai?
This is in Mumbai.
Okay.
Includes 86% private vehicles, includes both two-wheelers as well as four-wheelers, which total gets to 86% of the total vehicles. Okay, so this is currently the vehicles. 10 years back, the same figures it was 17 lakhs. So it is a big jump over the 10 years from 17 lakhs to 37 lakhs. Now let's speak about how the road space has been used and who is causing the traffic congestion. The road space, the way it is used is the traffic, 82% of our road space is occupied by 19%, only 19% of the users who are using private vehicles, both four-wheelers and two-wheelers. Yeah. People who hire their own auto rickshaws and taxis.
Let's get to the point. So you want governments to levy a tax on private vehicles? Is that what you're saying?
So basically, we need to actively also pull back some traffic, because there is no scope. In the past, traditionally, what we have done is to address this issue, we have been providing more and more road space. This is essentially like the analogy if I had to give. If I need to correct my obesity, I will have a bigger belt, but that doesn't help. So similarly, providing more and more road space is inviting more and more traffic. There is more and more supply.
I'm sorry, and what are you expecting people to do? We're still waiting for a metro to come, public transport is dismal. I mean, I think you're being a little unfair.
No, so let me tell you, we need additionally to control that demand. So hence, here is a method where you are controlling the demand, you are discouraging. Now, how do you discourage this? You're discouraging essentially the private vehicle users and people, but it doesn't stop there. You're not just charging, you're charging for better travel speeds and essentially also making available high quality public transport. So the revenue that has been come out of congestion pricing is only used for upgrading of public transport, providing not only better public transport both in terms of metro, bus, suburban railway, but also good walking facilities, walking and cycling facilities. And hence it is a push and pull method. Okay. So push for better infrastructure, public transport, efficient modes of transport, pull the inefficient modes.
No, I mean, it's sounding very utopian. I hope it happens. But if you're going to tell people to start walking and cycling in Mumbai, they're going to ask you where are the footpaths.
Yeah.
It's not even safe.
Yeah.
I think we are going to have to treat this in more ways than just reducing traffic. Do you think organizations need to start looking at remote work? Avoid travel and people traveling large distances unless they absolutely need to. We'll all have to rework our lives around the situation.
We have to, definitely. But however said and done, there are other factors also which makes your travel decision. And it is not as easy as saying that I would now start getting my job which is close to house.
Or work from home.
Or work from home. Not everyone has the luxury of doing that.
Fair enough.
And also many of them, especially if we had to talk about people who are into domestic help and many such activities, they have to travel larger distances, because even to be able to stay in the city center.
But they're not coming by cars, they're not taking private vehicles.
They're essentially coming by, they do come by suburban rail. Also, not to forget, many of them also use bus. And the buses are stuck in traffic.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue, but I think an important one, which is why we wanted to focus on it today on the show. Thank you so much, Bharan, for joining us. Just leaving you with this thought that it's more than just that feeling of frustration you feel rising in you when you've spent so much time in traffic. It's actually eating into your life. So start thinking about how you can reduce that stress every day for you. It costs you your health, your money, and your time.